Today I'm here with Steve Backley and Roger Black, the British Olympians.
Yeah.
Some people might be wondering why you're here with me today. It's okay, I'm not going for the Olympics. We're here to talk about property. What made you get involved in property and the change in industry in the UK?
Well, that's your story, really.
Yeah.
That's how it came about.
Well, you've been property through and through ever since you were a kid. Steve is passionate about property, so we've done quite a few things in property.
Yeah, I bought a property in black and white in 1989.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, too long ago to think. But so you always loved property, always been in property.
But regarding eXp and why we're here with you and the connection we have with you is through eXp.
Yep.
Is that in the summer of 2022, I was invited by Adam Day, who heads up eXp in the UK. They were doing a series of roadshows around the country. This is when eXp had like 200 agents. They just sort of started in the UK. And I was the sort of guest speaker, the motivational speaker. I mean, from Scotland down to the South Coast and brilliant. And Steve and I make our living speaking all over the world about performance. We tell our Olympic stories and the mindset of the Olympian. And I remember driving home from one of the events, phoning Steve saying it was amazing because everyone in that room were either existing eXp agents, but most of them were actually estate agents who were thinking about joining eXp. And what they were all really is wanting to become entrepreneurs, which you know, right?
100%. Yeah.
And the mindset of the entrepreneur or the agent looking to go out of the high street, working in the high street to actually running their own business was so similar to the mindset of the athlete dreaming of one day standing on the Olympic medal. Everything we talked about resonated. Let's go forward 2 years, and Adam Day invited us to become ambassadors for eXp, so we're helping grow eXp in the UK and around the world, and absolutely loving it.
But I still remember the phone call.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
Because it was quite, you're quite animated at times.
Yeah,
but this was out there. I was up there rather. It was, wow, this business is amazing. These guys are like Olympians.
Yeah.
The mindset, live by the sword, die by the sword, the behaviours, the attitude, it all just lined up. And it obviously was hearing that second hand from Roger, or first hand from you, but it wasn't until I was in the room as well and went, okay,
Got it.
I get
Yeah.
it.
Light bulb.
Yeah, and we love it. We love it, being around people like yourself.
Well, I
who are
think,
just,
the general public have a view on estate agents, don't they? Yeah, they do have, and I think once you get to know it, you've obviously got to see it firsthand at those events, those road shows, and you see the passion, how hard and how focused they are on giving the best service. And I think that obviously you have good ones and bad ones in any industry, don't you? But there's a lot of decent agents out there, and I think this eXp and the self-employed model gives that ability for the earning potential, doesn't it?
I love it for that. Stand on your own, live by your own merits, by your own performance, your true performance. Okay, fitting in a team, and there's a sporting analogy there, of course there is. But essentially we were individual athletes who chose to do that, and therefore the parallels sort of run and run. So a lot of respect for people who take that, that decision, that step, because it takes a bit of,
Of course it does,
a bit of confidence, a bit of commitment, a bit of trust, and there's a lot of similarities there from those words, but a lot of respect for people who do take that step, and when they go on and succeed, you think, wow, that's impressive, it's great.
The constant thing between all eXp agents, whether it's one extreme, you've got a young agent who's in the sort of, early starting out, wants to run their own business, and then someone like yourself or someone who's been in it for a while, runs their own agency and wants to take their agency to another level and build their team. The thing they have in common is the mindset.
Yeah.
And different stories. It's the same as when you watch people run at the Olympic Games. You may see 8 people run up in my event, the 400 metres. Different backgrounds, different stories, different motivations. What they have in common is they have a talent for running, and they're dreaming of winning Olympic medals. And that's why we just love meeting eXp agents, because we love hearing their stories. What is their why? Why did they make the decision to do that? And often those stories are completely different. But what is consistent with all those agents is they have a passion, they have a dream, and they go, I want to do it my way with the support of eXp, and I want to build something as an entrepreneur that I cannot do if I'm employed.
Yeah, and I think, you mentioned, obviously I've come into it, the team element, and I think there's some agents who love being, they want the benefits of eXp, but they also want the benefits of being involved in a team and an existing brand, and that's why when I had the opportunity, I just jumped at it. I just couldn't believe this opportunity. I do think there's I look back at my career, my proudest moments are seeing young members of the team come through and go on to bigger and better things and work their way through the company. And I thought, this is going to give me, my enjoyment. Like, I love helping people. I love helping agents come through, and I can give them the only potential, and they can run their own businesses underneath my business and eXp, and everyone can win.
Yeah, sure. So what was the thing that really enticed you? What was it? What got you? What caught your attention?
I think there was a number of things, really. I've studied the American, Australian system. I do think the estate agency system, as well, we were talking earlier on off camera about, the actual law side of things and the actual conveyancing side of things, it's all broken, in the UK. I do think it needs changing. And the first thing, I think needs changing is the way estate agents get paid. The old traditional way of negotiators, valuers, office manager, I think, secretaries, that doesn't stack up anymore in the opportunities of, for estate agents, transactions, the changes of how many estate agents are out there has affected a lot of things with transactions going down and the estate agencies going up. So I think, the fact that I've been following that self-employed model for some time, I've dived into it before eXp, had some ups and downs, and you've got to have lots of systems training platform. You've got to have your legal contracts on point, and that changes from time to time. Whereas when I first met Adam through an agent who was signed with me actually, and he was an eXp agent, and we got to discussing things. And Adam and I just spoke, and we're like, yes, this is a perfect, for what I was looking for, this is perfect. I've got the compliance help, the legal help, onboarding of agents, training, development. And I can focus on the lead generation and the mentorship side.
And that's something we hear a lot in that I'm sure a lot of agents who want to run their own business, but it's not easy to do that, to go through it. eXp provide the support and the platform to free you up, or the agent up, to do what they're good at. And is it therefore, are you more likely to be successful with eXp because you've got that support than if you're out there really just trying to do it yourself?
How I look at it is I think stronger together. I think the industry since lockdown has come together. There's a lot more sharing during lockdown and since 2020. I think being part of something bigger, I feel like I'm small enough to care, big enough to cope, because I've got that support. Adam and the team in the head office, that are there for me, and I just feel like I've got a platform now. I can scale faster, as if I was on my own, just trying to spin loads of plates.
But presumably you had questions along the way, though, right?
It took me 5-6 months to make the final decision.
So just talk us briefly through that process. I mean, what was the?
And Adam was great.
Adam
Day's a very busy man, and but he answered all my questions clearly, and. It took me a while, but when I had that moment, and there's certain other revenue streams you can earn, as we know from eXp, rev share and stock options, that was a big factor for me. But generally, it was just the fact that they seem to have their, I won't swear, everything together. They've got the system. It works in the US. It's working everywhere else in the they've gone to, isn't it? So I like.
But Adam, and let's you're very, very humble about this, okay? You were the first person to do that in the UK. You're the first. There's another two at the time, but you sit here today as the first person to bring their whole team into eXp in the UK. And I know it's happened in the States, but to be the first takes something, because it's much easier to follow. You've got no one to follow, so you're the pioneer in the UK. So, I think I think that's a big deal.
And you're asking me why I made that decision. Well, I think life's a journey, business is a journey, isn't it? And there's a few things that happened in my life that has made me, not just sit on my hands and think, I'll wait. A couple of big life-changing moments to do with friends and injuries, and and how that changed my mindset. And I always think, what's the worst going to happen? Let's give this a go. And being where we're located in Hertfordshire, it's a very tough market. So when I opened up my office, I had to be different. I had to think outside the box. I couldn't just be another estate agent. I had to push myself, and that's why I went into the video marketing. That's why we've always tried to be ahead of the curve. And I think when this came across, I thought, and I've had some people, to be honest, I've had contacted from big names in the industry going, what are you doing? Why have you joined the eXp? And now it looks like they're joining as well.
Oh, right.
I remember when I decided that I would commit to athletics as an 18-year-old when I was reading medicine at university, and I left because I wanted to pursue
Big
athletics.
decision. That's a big decision.
There were a lot of people, especially friends of my parents or colleagues of my parents, saying, what are you doing? Seriously? And actually criticising my father in particular for allowing me to do this. And it takes a certain, and of course, we're not guaranteed success. No. We weren't guaranteed to win the medals. No one's guaranteed to make a success of this. But there's something about coming back to the mindset of the Olympian or the successful EXP agent. There's something in that where you see that as, well, I don't want to look back and say if only. Yeah. I'd rather go for it and something's going to happen.
Goosebumps hearing that. It's exciting, isn't it? And I think like the night I first met you two in December, I said something about, I really believe in it. And I remember you saying, Steve, something that always will stick with me, that you were like, you really are going to make this work, aren't you? Like, and cause you could see that I've got that vision, and I think you've got to have that self-belief, haven't you? You've got to have that belief, and there's a risk in everything in life, and especially when you're making business decisions.
Well, that's kind of the world we've been fascinated by as athletes and since. Yeah. What is it that makes some people have those characteristics or not? Is it a decision, or are they traits? Are they I'm completely fascinated by it, and also the fact that there are days when maybe it feels the fire doesn't quite burn brightly in your belly. That's the same. There are lots of parallels that we can discuss. So just to complete that sort of that journey, it took you 5 or 6 months to come on board. How's it going? I mean, what's it like on the now you're in? There's some changes, but what's the difference and how's it going?
So to explain, we've still got employed team members, in the office, but we've got self-employed agents as well, and all the team have got behind it. I've made sure I've never been a sort of lead or director where I sit up above and I'm not down on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's involved in the decision making, and we're all so excited about it. And one thing I've noticed since going live with eXp is it's made no difference to the business. Actually, the pipeline's grown since.
When you say no difference, you mean no
negative
to the day, but do you mean no difference to the way the business is run? Is it? You just got a different system behind you.
Yeah,
but for the punter or the person looking to buy or sell a house through you, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed for them. No. One thing I love is Loop, the system we all use as eXp agents. It doesn't allow you to put the property live unless it's compliant. Or as a business owner, you've always got that risk. You've got to double check things. But I know everything which is on there online available for the general public to see, which probably wasn't as I wasn't as aware of that when I signed and dotted line and joined. But I was like, that was one of those moments like, well, this is cool.
So that's a more robust process than you had previously when you're on your own.
Yeah, because
that's interesting.
Because and I was like, why do CRMs let you do that in the first place? Why do you let you pull it live without it being compliant? Because so it's lovely to be part of that.
Yeah, and a lot of the agents talk about collaboration, and you've got this global network. How important is that to you?
Yeah, straight away I've got new friends, in that eXp world, and I think that being stronger together and sharing ideas, all the workplace, conversations and getting involved in hearing new things. I think it's great to be a small independent company like myself, and you've got that sharing environment. It's really nice.
That's one of the interesting things that we've seen with eXp is if you get resistance from people, it's but I don't want to be on my own. And of course, it couldn't be further from the truth, because the whole concept of eXp is actually you are connected with people, if you want to, all over the world, but certainly in the UK through workplace. People are communicating all the time. And there seems to be this culture of agents wanting to help other agents.
There is,
And on the high street, it doesn't work like that, does it? But at eXp, it tends to be this collaborative, we're all in it together to help everyone do better. Yeah,
like Alex over in Wales, we've known each other before we both joined eXp, but we're always speaking on the phone, we're always sharing ideas. He'll pick up the phone and speak to Todd or Dan in my office as well, what do you think about this, and what photo's best, or how shall I win this client, and he's on the phone to me on 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and while we're both walking a dog or something. It's a nice, it's a give mentality, which is.
One of the questions that I'm interested in your answer is, for your team, What was it like being able to communicate to them that we're going to be partnering with eXp now, so you're no longer going to be salaried, you're going to become independent, self-employed eXp agents within Mackay Properties. Now, how did that conversation go?
Well, not everyone went completely self-employed, so yeah, but I think everyone, because we've still got a core team, because I need people to help me run my sales, and I want to
That's
focus.
an administration role.
Yeah,
the agents. The agents who are actually out there finding the houses, finding the clients.
I think it's about it's understanding, and it's not just about saying this is what we're doing. Yeah, they've got it's how you pitch it to them, and there's more opportunity, and you've got to be a plan. And any self-employed agent, their biggest fear is not just being on their own; it's about where their leads coming from. So as long as there's a plan in place to how you're going to get the leads, which we've got anyway as a company, I think it's quite an easy move. And I think I've got a blend of both. So it's working quite well, and we're looking to bring in. But one thing I wasn't aware of was going to happen is straight away I've got the best talent locally reaching out to me, whereas I've been looking at these agents or sometimes business owners as well, where I knew I couldn't afford them. I couldn't buy that company, or I couldn't go and poach that agent. But they're reaching out to me.
And when you say reaching out to you for what?
Just what's this eXp thing? Like, can I take you to dinner and chat about it? So it's given me opportunities to bring on the best local talent into the brokerage. And it's still early days. I only went live 2 months ago. So it's although I made the decision some time ago, that I can see being a constant thing, because I think if 2 or 3 of those join, which I've already spoken to, all of a sudden it'll attract more and more to the brokerage and go on from there.
You mentioned, sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say, you mentioned talent, and it's a word often used in the sporting world, of course. The slightly unusual thing in the sporting world, somebody who's seen as talent through their teens, 20s, often doesn't make it. It's others who have a certain set of characteristics that we've spent a lot of time talking about and unravelling as to what those characteristics are. What does the perfect agent look like in terms of their characteristics, and what would you look for in that talent process?
For me, I've always built my reputation before, even as a business owner, on being different, and not being a typical estate agent, and caring for the customer and giving honest advice, and so you could argue like a lot of business owners in the estate agent world be like someone who lists 30 a month and sells 15. But I've more looked at their profile as a person, really. If they actually care about the customer and they want to get better every day. Like sport. With sport. Naturally we talk about sport with you too. I played golf to a fairly good standard, and I think you can tell a lot about personal sporting arena. So I think actually, a lot of the time when I'm meeting potential agents, I might throw in a game of pool or a bit of table tennis or something like that to see what they're like, how they're coping in a bad situation when I'm thrashing them, normally.
Emptying their wallet, that's it.
But no, I agree. I think, so I just want someone to be hungry. And I've offered people jobs in coffee shops before. If I can see they've got that something, you can teach the rest about conveyancing process and how to do a perfect viewing.
Yeah. But maybe that's one of the big game changers that eXp offer, the young agents coming through now, because there's an opportunity because of the eXp model that actually, if their mindset is right and they're prepared to work and they're open-minded and they'll be coached, their capacity to earn money not just one way but 2 or 3 different ways, but also to build an income and maybe for retirement, for the future, which what we were hearing as estate agents, that didn't really exist. Estate agents can't really retire unless you're one of the ones that can sell your business, but that's harder now. But now every individual agent, eXp agent, can actually do that.
I set my business up nearly 15 years ago, and if you look at it, I was a self-employed agent. I listed everything for 10 years myself, and I was doing the sales progression at the beginning. So the only difference is I had the expense of having an office and all the advertising that goes along with that, and extra costs and staff. And if I had the opportunity to join as a brokerage back then, I wouldn't have probably set up. If I go back to my 30-year-old self, 29-year-old self, I would have been, well, why would I take the risk of having a 20 grand overhead when I can just join this and got all these different earning potential?
With that in mind, what would you say to a brokerage owner, agent on their own, maybe independent, even on working on the high street, whatever, whoever? What would you say to them if they, maybe they've seen the eXp as a brand, they've seen where it's going, they've seen the growth? What would you say to them to get their attention to think about taking it on as an agent or an agency?
I'm lucky enough, I've spoken to a lot of agents recently, and the general theme is the system's broken, it's time for a change. Right. Some of them don't know what it is. Some of them are thinking of getting out of the industry altogether. Because
the old high street system.
The old high street system, the old high street system of having loads of staff, spending loads of money on advertising, not guaranteed to get it all back, is a risky business to be in. Where it's a self-employed offering to your salespeople, gives them a more earning potential, like we were just discussing, but takes a lot of costs away from the business owner and the brokerage. And I think you can cover a wider area, from a one hub. I think the old-fashioned 10, 15 years ago was, I want to have 6 offices and I'm going to have 12 offices, but I think that's going to die. I think that's my gut feeling.
So do you believe, life always changes and things evolve, but there are key moments in any moment in time for businesses where you look back and go, that was a key moment in this industry. Do you think we are in that right now? Or is this the beginning? This is a pivotal change in this age?
I think it's still fairly early stage. eXp have had a great start. I believe it's the best offering out there for self-employed brokers or agencies joining. I don't think the general estate agent owner, similar size to me or bigger, don't understand the offering clearly enough. And I think your answer to your question, Steve, would be it's time to change. Open up your ideas and look at other things. And there are, I've spoken to some great business owners recently, and they're like, this seems too good to be true. When there must be a catch. And I was a bit like that at the beginning. I was like,
I think we were when we got involved. We don't jump into bed with any company because our brand's on the line.
Yeah, of course.
And
But when you do the numbers, you guys spoke. You looked at the Americans, and and I reached out and got as much info as I could, and reached out to people on Instagram and LinkedIn. And when I understood how the model works and how eXp have changed their model going along to make sure it protects them as a business and everything like that, I thought pretty safe to make the decision.
Because there's a lot of business models out there across different industries. If we widen the chat, in terms of JVs or commission structures or profit shares, there's different stuff. But I'd never come across a business structure that was so balanced and in favour of the people who are going to make it happen, build it. Yeah. So you put that all together and you go, well, it's inevitable that wins because you've created a dynamic that will allow it to organically thrive, right? I mean, it's if you think of it as an organism, Darwin would have liked it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Survival of the fittest. Well, kind of there you go.
Isn't it? It's going to carry on growing. I just can't see it not carry on growing.
How big can it go? Do you think?
I think if I'm right, I think it's about 6% self-employed at the moment in the UK, isn't it? So take it. I think eXp could take 20% of the market. That's how big I think it could go. I know we're not just sitting here talking about eXp the whole time, but I honestly believe with their model they've got. I think and I was the first person to say yes to join the brokerage. I saw it as a no lose. I wasn't selling the company, and some people might be thinking that is a question they want to ask. Did you sell the company to them?
That's a good point.
No, I didn't.
You still own the company?
Still own my company. Yeah. I'm powered by
no franchise, not franchise.
It's a cheap way to plug into systems, processes. Some of the marketing systems, back end support. The list goes on. And I had a chat with an agent owner the other day who's got a far bigger business than me, and he was like, I had to speak to you because he'd spoken to someone else at eXp and Adam and everything, and he was like, because I know you won't lie to me, Adam. This is too good to be true, isn't it? I was like, well, it looks like that, but the business model's built to support the people who help building it, and so I think we've spoke about that. I think a lot of people don't get it, and I think a lot of people won't get it, but the people who do will win. That's what I think.
Brilliant. Well, if anyone is watching this and they'd like to meet you with us, get in touch. Be great.
Lovely.